Camera ready.
This one you see the đúng xong rồi.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am flight officer NCO medical officer at the medical center. This morning, I shall be delivering a lecture on first aid in medical emergencies. At times, we find ourselves present in the vicinity of an emergency, such as road traffic accident, domestic accident, gunshot injuries, near-damage situation, burns and other emergencies alike, and there is little help we can offer to the victims because we lack the requisite knowledge of what to do to help them. Recently, there was a report of a soldier who was wounded in action, but later died due to excessive bleeding from injuries sustained at the battlefront before getting to a health facility. Such unfortunate occurrence may have been prevented if those around had a good knowledge of first aid. These unfortunate incidents could happen to any one of us. It is to bridge this gap in knowledge of first aid that this lecture is being delivered. As the lecture progresses, there will be some demonstrations to ensure good understanding and comprehension of the subject matter. Next. Next. The lecture shall cover the following: goals of first aid, qualities of a good first aider, and cardiopulmonary resuscitation, amongst other items. Next. At this juncture, I would like to define what is first aid. Next. Just as the name implies, first and aid. First means preceding all others in time or order, while aid to provide with what is useful or necessary. First aid is therefore an immediate care given to a person who has been injured or has suddenly taken ill. It includes self-help and home care if medical assistance is not available or is made. Next. I want to look at goals of first aid, what we hope to achieve when we administer first aid. Alpha, to alleviate suffering. This is to reduce the pain and discomfort the victim is experiencing. Bravo, to prevent further injury or danger. Whatever assistance you render while giving first aid must not worsen the victim's condition. Challenge, to preserve life. The intervention that is rendered in a first aid should preserve the victim's life. Next, qualities of a good first aider. Alpha, a first aider must be gentle. This means he or she must not be harsh or violent when administering first aid. Bravo, be soft. This ability to find quick and clever ways to help the injured. This is important because at the point of administering first aid, you may not have a standard first aid kit or box. So you should be able to look for things in your immediate surrounding to help the victim. Challenge, observant. A first aider must be quick to notice, hear sounds, or perceive things within the surrounding or vicinity of an accident or an emergency. Delta, tactful. A first aider should have skill and show sensitivity in dealing with the injured. Equal, empathic. A first aider must be able to understand and share the feelings of the injured. And finally, first trust, respectable. In administering first aid, it must be decent in character. This is important because the person may be administering first aid to may actually be of the opposite gender. So you should show yourself respectable and also show respect in the victim. Next. General guidelines in administering first aid. Alpha, planning of action. What this means is to establish an action by a plan based on anticipated needs and available resources. This entails in your house knowing where your fire alarm switch is in case of a fire emergency, for instance. Having the number of the fire service available in your phone to call them immediately if there is any case of fire outbreak, or having the number of the ambulance to call them when there is a medical emergency that somebody needs to be evacuated to a health facility. So this was included in the planning of action. Bravo is gathering of needed materials. This entails preparing and having a functional first aid kit with everything that you need to provide first aid in the event of an emergency. Next, these are just the basic content of a first aid kit. A first aid box should have a plaster, gloves, gauze, alcohol pads, or you can prepare with, if you have a standard alcohol pads, you can use cotton that soaks in the necessary to provide for alcohol pads. Then there must be a tourniquet or a bandage, scissors, safety pins, painkillers, and anti-inflammatory ointments. Next. In a situation where the aforementioned items are not available, improvisation can be made. For instance, you are in a battlefield and your comrade is injured and you don't have a first aid kit with you, and the person is bleeding profusely. What you can use your belt to serve as a tourniquet, or you can even use the lace of your boot, tie it just above the point of bleeding to prevent the person from bleeding. And if it's at home and you don't have a bandage, you can use a clean cloth. You just need to tie it around or use to cover the site where the victim is bleeding. And also, if you don't have things like the necessary and you have one water and salt, you can use one water and salt to clean the wound before getting the person to the hospital. Next. Other general guidelines to ensure that this first aid include survey the scene. You must make sure that the scene is safe before administering first aid. The questions to ask yourself before administering first aid when you get to the scene of an accident is: one, is the scene safe for you and the injured? For instance, you meet somebody who had an accident and the person is still lying on the room. You can't start administering first aid on the person while he or she is still lying on the room. You have to take the person away from the site of danger. Or in a battlefield and your comrade has been shot, and you are still getting receiving fire from your enemies. You can't start administering first aid at that point. So you must first of all ensure that the environment is safe for you and the victim. Then another question you need to ask yourself is: what happened? What caused the injury? Was it a fire, a road traffic accident? Did the person get drowned? You need to ask yourself what has happened. You must find out what has happened to the victim. Then you find out how many persons were involved in the accident or how many persons were injured. It will help you to estimate the level of impact or the level of damage that will have happened. And also, alone, especially for some kind of emergencies. As we go on in the lecture, we will see why it is important that you go for help. And also, if the patient or the victim is conscious, you must get a consent from the person before you administer first aid. You don't force yourself on somebody. Except if the victim is unconscious, you can just go ahead and start administering first aid. Delta, your initial response will be to actually intervene. That will be appropriate intervention after assessing to know what has happened to the victim. Next. We want to look at what to do with first aid to render in some specific medical emergencies. And at this point, we will be demonstrating so that we will have a good knowledge of what to do in each of these cases. For instance, the open wound. Open wounds are wounds caused by maybe gunshots, accidents, where you have to see where the person has an open wound that is bleeding. There are things that you can do to preserve.
No, see, she's there. There.
They should tell them they open the
They know just
Let's assume you have a victim that has, for instance, a small knife cut on the hand. Let's say you are cooking in your kitchen and you mistakenly cut yourself. You know the bleeding may not be that profuse, unlike when you have a gunshot injury. So what should you do as a form of first aid? Let's say you have a cut on the hand. So what you can do is just apply pressure. Let's say the injury is on the forearm, where your hand is. So what you do is apply pressure and elevate that part of the body that has been injured above the level of the heart. So you elevate it this way. With this, the rate of bleeding will reduce. But for it, if you have any plain cloth, you can also put it as a form of pressure dressing around the cut. If you have a bandage, a curved bandage like this, can use any point or wear or plain handkerchief to wrap around the injury, while still elevating the part of the body. You can also have an open wound in gunshot injury, and you know that a wound from a bullet will actually bleed more than what you could get from a simple knife cut. So in the case where you have a gunshot injury to the leg, applying pressure with your hand may not be that helpful. So what you have to do is to apply a pressure dressing. You can remove the person's inner vest or any cloth around and tie it around the point. You still have to elevate that part of the body. Let's say it's either the arm or the hand or the leg that has been injured. You have to elevate the part of the body. Then apply a pressure dressing around it. Then when you finish, you apply a tourniquet. A tourniquet is like a bandage above the level of the bleeding. If you don't have a standard tourniquet, you can use the lace of your shoe. You can use your belt of the bleeding. But there's a caveat to this. When you apply a tourniquet, you must make sure the tourniquet can admit your little finger. Because if it's too tight, you will cause further damage. In as much as you don't want the person to bleed, you will still want venous return. That's you want blood from the other parts, the parts below the bleeding to still return to the heart. So you must make sure the tourniquet admits your little finger this way. You have to put your little finger under the tourniquet to ensure it's admissive. Then you elevate, still keep that part of the body elevated above the level of the heart. The tourniquet is what is called tourniquet time. We expect that this tourniquet will not last more than 45 to 60 minutes, which means after applying this, you must get the person to the health facility. First aid is not the definitive treatment. What we are aiming is to prevent further injury and damage to the person. So once you apply this, you must start heading to the health facility. Then, for fractures, let's say there is a road traffic accident and notice a victim that has fractured any of the bones. What you have to do is to split that part of the leg that has been broken, or any part of the bone, whether the hand or the leg. You have to split it. Either you use carton, you can get a carton, cut it into two, and place side and place on both sides of the leg or the part of the body that has been fractured. Or you get sticks and place this way. Then use your bandage or any clay cloth around to tie the part of the body to the carton or the stick. The reason why you are doing this is to prevent the leg from dangling. If it continues to dangle, the level of injury will increase. And also you must ensure the person does not make use of that part of the body. Because if he or she does, there's what is called a thrombus. Some clots can dislodge from that point of fracture and go and burst the small arteries in our hearts and the lungs. So once you do this, you ensure the person does not make use of that part of the body till you get he or she to the hospital. Another medical emergency we're looking at is head injury. You will see cases of head injury you can see in a road traffic accident or in a situation where somebody falls from a height. Maybe a carpenter who is trying to work on your house can fall, or children playing on a tree, they can fall from there and hit their head on the ground. When you meet such a victim, you must look critically at their neck to ensure they don't have what is called a fracture of the neck. The danger of head injury is that if the neck is fractured, the spinal cord can be involved, and when it happens, the person will paralyze from below the level of the spinal cord involvement. For instance, if the part of the spinal cord that is involved is on the neck, almost below the neck, from that point to the paralysis, so the person may not even breathe. The person will be able to control his defecation and urination. So you must be careful. Once you assess, look at the neck, and you are sure that there is nothing that has happened. If you are fortunate to have what is called a neck collar around, you apply the neck collar to stabilize the neck. But when you don't have and you want to move the person, it's a common, I've observed that when there is accident, what people tend to do is to try to raise the victim. You want the victim to stand on his feet. That's actually very wrong. It will worsen the person's condition. Make sure you position the victim flat like this on a flat surface. And when you want to lift the person into a vehicle or a waiting ambulance, there is a way to carry that victim. You must be at least 3. The most experienced amongst you will stay at the end. The right the other 2 in position this way, and you carry the person in one piece. the person at the head gives the command to the other person, and you carry the person this way. So you carry the person this way and also drop the person the same way in an ambulance or in a waiting. So this has to carry somebody who has had a head injury so that we don't further worsen the person's injury. Therefore, an unconscious patient, at times you may be walking around and you see somebody lying unconsciously on the floor. The first thing to do is to assess. You have to assess the patient, then do what is called commence cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Next slide. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation is a life-saving technique useful in many emergencies, such as in an unconscious state, when a victim or a patient has weak or low pulse, when there is no breathing or difficulty in breathing, cardiac arrest, drowning, choking, trauma cases such as a road traffic accident and gunshot injuries, and other injuries alike. So what you do when you meet an unconscious patient is called a cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Next slide, please. So cardiopulmonary resuscitation is a combination of chest compression, as can be seen on the screen, and rescue breaths. You give 15 chest compression to 1 rescue breath, or 30 chest compressions to 2 rescue breaths. So we demonstrate so that we know what to do. When you meet an unconscious patient, the first thing you have to do is to check if he or she is actually alive. So you have to check if the person is conscious. If you know the person, you can call the person's name. Let's say his name is John. When you get, they can say John. Or if you don't know the person, you can just start by what you're doing.
Are you alright?
And see, the victim is not responding. Next, you check if the patient is breathing. You put your hand across the person's nose. If the person is breathing, you feel the person's breath on your nose. Or if the person is of the same gender, you can open the person's throat to look at the chest if there are chest movements. Because when you breathe, your chest actually goes up and down. So this is how you can check if the person is breathing. Then after that, you check for circulation, where you have to check for the pulse. You feel for the person's pulse on either on the wrist or on the neck for carotid pulse. In checking for pulse on the neck, please don't check both sides at the same time. Because if you do, your blood do not flow to the brain and the person will die. So it has to be one at a time. Just put you can feel for your own carotid pulse. Just come on your neck. You notice some pulsation. So after you finish shaking this, you now start this chest compression. Actually, you need to call for help. Because only you will not be able to administer a cardiopulmonary resuscitation on the victim.
Hello, hazard, help.
So one person stays at the head. You must position the head very well. And you must also check for foreign bodies in the person's mouth. Check whether there are some things obstructing the person's airway. If there are fluid, you can use your hand or towel to clean up the fluid from the person's nose and mouth before you start. Then, to do a chest compression, you place your palm on the person's sternum. Your sternum is the part between your chest and your abdomen. The place that looks as if it's a distal, place your chest, your hand, your palm there. You put your non-dominant hand first and your dominant hand. Your dominant hand If you are right-handed, that means your dominant hand is your right hand. So you put your dominant hand on the non-dominant hand and place the palm on the person's chest this way. You see the way she locks her fingers. You lock your fingers that way and apply pressure. The pressure should come from your shoulder, not from your elbow. If you want to get maximum result, the pressure has to come from your shoulder, not the elbow. What's this way? It's this way. So, like what she's doing, can you concentrate from your elbow? This is very wrong. You won't achieve anything. But if it comes from the shoulder, then you do this for 15 times. Why do you have to count so that the person at the head will hear your counting? So once you count up to 15, you stop. Then the person at the head will lift the chain. Then and give the person breath. Because of infections, we don't advise mouth-to-mouth breathing again. Either you get a clean hanky and place across the person's mouth, or you fold your palm this way to pray for. If you have something like a small corner, maybe a little pipe that can cover the person's mouth, you place it and breathe inside. So if the person makes 15 compressions, you breathe once. But if the person makes 30 compressions, you breathe twice. Then you continue the cycle. This actually works. I'll use it to resuscitate the patient. It works. But one thing you must note is that you don't perform this on a bed. You only use bed because you don't want to stain the fluid. It must be done on a hard surface. The floor, most preferably. You must put the victim on the floor. Because if you use a soft bed, when you apply compression, the person will go inside and you won't get the benefits. So you have to keep doing this, and there are situations where you stop. Next slide. When to stop your cardiopulmonary resuscitation, I use the acronym STOP to represent it. Because after each cycle, a cycle is 15 or 30 compressions and 1 or 2 breaths. After each cycle, you have to check for breathing, if the person has begun to breathe spontaneously, and if your pulse is actually bad. So after each cycle, you re-examine the patient. So you stop when you notice spontaneous signs of circulation and return of breathing. Or when medical services authorized personnel arrive at the scene, you stop your cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Or when the operator or the first aider gets exhausted. If you get exhausted, you stop. And also, as you are doing the chest compression and breathing, if the person doing the chest compression gets tired, you swap. So you just swap positions. But when both first aiders are tired, you have to stop. There is nothing else they can do. You also stop when a doctor or a nurse arrives to the scene, so that he or she can now continue the resuscitation. Next slide. Then after you have successfully resuscitated a victim, you don't just leave the person and walk away. You have to place the person in what is called recovery position. So after you have resuscitated, you take the next slide, please. No? Okay. After resuscitating a victim, you have to place the person in recovery position. The reason why you place the person in this position is to ensure that the airway remains open. Because if you don't place the person in this way, you're still recovering from an unconscious state. The tongue can fall back and block the airway. So you must place the person in this position. The person lies on the left, stretches the left leg and folds the right leg. Then and bends on the left. So you keep the person this way for some minutes. Till the person, the breathing and circulation improves, and the person is fully conscious, then he can stand up and continue his activities or go to the hospital. Next slide. In conclusion, first aid is an immediate care given to a person who has been injured or has suddenly taken ill. It includes self-help, home care if medical assistance is not readily available or needed. The aim of first aid is to alleviate suffering, prevent further injury, and prolong life. Thank you.
Shall we once again give the medical doctor and round of applause for that lecture? So, with your kind permission, we'll now move on to the second segment of today's lecture, which is the question and answer segment. Starting from my immediate left, if you have any question or contribution to make to this lecture today, kindly signify by raising your hand. Tell us your name and go straight to the question. 1 minute. Any question from here? Okay, I'll move on to this column now, to this row. For any questions or contributions. Next row, please.
The acting commandant, sir, all other protocols will be observed. I'm the Salam Dawood from Counseling Department. I want to appreciate the resource person for the lecture. It's well delivered, sir. I want to quickly add a bit on first aid, and I will be talking about seizure disorder. I think what we all know as baby epilepsy. Of course, in our society, while we're growing up, there are many things people do when someone has a seizure. So, a seizure is something that would happen, it would occur and go. That is if either the person is in a safe place or is well aided. So there are certain things to do and certain things not to do when someone has seizure. Seizure is a different type. But I think the one that gets to us most is when you see someone either crying out, falling on the floor, or jacket. So when you see a victim like that, you first of all help the person to the ground. That is if he has not fallen all by himself. If you see someone is losing balance and you suspect this person is beginning to have epilepsy, you help them to the ground, then you help them with the egg. If there is any soft object, a towel, a foam, or anything within to help with the egg. We also try and help that the person is on his side so that they can breathe properly. Then, especially for someone who falls on the floor and jerk, you try to ensure the space is not with any sharp object that could, injure this person. Seizure, we do not expect it to last more than 5 minutes. So just in case it is lasting longer than 5 minutes, you call for help. So when this person wakes up after the seizure episode, you talk to them, assure them, and keep them calm. But the most important thing is that you give your physical presence and be empathic, just like the doctor said. You do not say things that based on their emotions. You don't even get to talk too much anyway. If they ask you a question, you say. Then what not to do? Please, when someone has seizure, do not put anything into their mouth. That's a very common practice that we grew up with, that if you see someone having epilepsy, you quickly push spoon or something. Please don't. It can injure the mouth, it can cause lots of damages. Because they won't swallow themselves, they won't swallow the tongue, most likely, because some of them do bite the tongue anyway, okay? But putting spoon into the mouth can just, make it worse. All right, I think I want to stop it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sirs. The acting commandant, all other protocol duly observed. My name is Rashid Chikani. My question is that I know how a first aid looks like. There's no water at all in the first aid. But should I say our regular way of reverting those unconscious is always putting water on their head. So I want you to talk on that. And also, if someone has a cut on the head, the next thing they do is put water washing the blood. All these necessary or possible or good to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll now move on to the next row for your questions or contributions. Third row, any question or contribution, please? Last row, please. Any question or contribution? May I now respectfully move on to the officer's cadre for any questions or contributions, starting from majors, equivalents, and below.
The director of logistics, directors, senior staff officers, soldiers, flight officers here, the Secretary Medical Center. I would like to say that in giving this first aid, it's very important that you are not too much in a haste, especially when you don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, it's better you call someone that is around you, or just leave the person. Don't be too much in a haste, because while rushing, you might cause more harm than good. Especially in this part of the world where we just need to move the person or something. Just calm down. If you know what to do, call someone. If you know what to do, then think first, observe the scenario, then act. That way you prevent a lot of things from happening and getting worse. Yesterday was quite interesting for us, and I remember something happened after we finished sports. And while we were there, the first thing that typical Nigerians would do was what everybody wanted to do. But we just have to calm down and assess the situation, and we just do something simple and person was fine. And that's the way it should be when you are in a place like that. You just say, okay, because person is having muscle spasm and you just want to rush at it, that let's quickly massage and everything. It's not the important thing right there. What's the cause? To know the cause, then provide a solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'll now move on to Lieutenant Colonel equivalent for their questions or contributions. In the absence of none, I'll move on to the deputy directors for their questions or contributions. In the absence of none, may I now humbly invite the medical doctor back to the podium to answer the questions being asked. The medical doctor, sir.
To answer the question that was asked, if pouring water on the head of somebody that has suddenly fainted is a good practice, it's a very wrong practice. Let me start by saying that if somebody for instance, collapses here, the first thing that we should do is not to gather around the person. We must try to allow the person to get ventilation. Position the person is very well on the ground. If he or she is wearing the shoe, using the shoe, the belts, to ensure that there is proper circulation. Then for our ladies, at times when they come in such situation, you notice that their bra will be very tight, and some of them will also wear some other things that is actually limiting blood flow. So you have to make sure you free all those things and the person breathes very well. You don't need to pour water on the person. The danger is that in pouring water on somebody that is unconscious, the water may enter the person's airways. And because he's unconscious, the normal reflex sneezing may not be there to take out those things. So the best is not to pour water. Just position the person, let the person get more ventilation. Then assess and see whether you can start a cardiopulmonary resuscitation for the person, or better still take the person to the nearest health facility. When someone has an injury, not just on the head, anywhere, and you have clean water, you can actually wash off the beds. It's part of the state. You can wash off the beds with clean water as you proceed to a health facility. So there's nothing wrong in trying to wash off the wound with clean water. It's also part of the state. That's why I say if somebody that is a good first aider must be resourceful, be able to do for things around that he or she can use to help a victim. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ojioko. So may I at this point respectfully request the the directors for their contributions or observations, if any.
The acting commander, sir, directors present, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen. I want to ask you, why is it that when we come here, you stop seeking for question only from deputy directors? Is it that the directors know everything? Because like now, I have a question, and you just say directors they should do. Are we medical doctors, the directors?
Yes, sir.
I have a question about this person. I want to suggest if it is not a lecture that is not professionally linked to our offices. You understand?
Yes, sir.
If you want to say history of the Nigerian army in battle from 1963 till date, and because I'm an infantryman, if you know I don't have question, they are fine. But if you want to talk about directorate of training, you say no, maybe I don't have question. But when they talk about other issues that we say we don't have knowledge about, you say because we are directors, so the question from deputy director, then the directors will give a comment and their opinions, how they talk about. So we know everything. Give us chance to ask questions, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Then when you come the second round, after the question, you can now give us chance to now comment, teaching points.
Yes, sir.
Is it very clear?
Very clear, sir.
Because I want to ask the man, I was not here for the lecture, but for the little I heard, I want to ask the question, where the medical doctor they will deliver? Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Some time ago, I had an injury when I was in Zamfara. That was last year. I had a cut in my hand, finger, and then I think I rushed to wash it, and the bleeding did not stop on time. So when I told the doctor, he said, no, I shouldn't have allowed water to contact the wound. That he explained some medical things to me, that will now delay the clotting process. I don't know, I'm not a medical personnel, I don't have that knowledge. So now you are telling me if there is one on the head they can wash. I found this very absurd because he didn't even give us the conditions. If you want to wash a wound, somebody who is offering first aid, he did not give us clear-cut conditions. If you know you have sterilized or clean things, what if somebody use any dirty thing to wash or dirty water to wash, which will now lead to infection and the rest? Because cut in the head is not a resuscitation that you say, okay, for whatever reason, let the person be resuscitated. Later, other things can follow. But for cut in the head, you say there's nothing bad in washing. and the person is not medical personnel, he might not know which kind of water he used, which kind of material he used. He just remove his handkerchief that he has used for cleansing kata and then start with anything the person could use. Where would he get cotton wool or anything that is clean? I wanted you to put emphasis that if you have this and that, and like the other officer said yesterday, we don't know what happened, but he said you have to know the cause. So if you are not a medical personnel, how will you know the cause? Why somebody fainted? You have to know the cause before you know the action. It's only medical personnel that will determine that. We laymen, we only know that if somebody faints, you should tell us, like you gave good examples, you remove the shoes, you remove the bra or headgear if it is tight. Have you noticed so? Even that removing of that bra, now everybody can just remove the bra. You have to talk in a clear manner. Do you understand? Because we are talking about life and death here, first aid. Principally, we know that first aid is whatever treatment you can offer before the patient arrives to the hospital, isn't it? And I think the principal thing about first aid is to remove the danger from the victim or the victim from the danger, whichever is easier, isn't it? So, and then again the question, if somebody fainted and you want to offer first aid, you are not a medical personnel, what is the correct lying position? You say lying down, okay, you need ventilation. Now, what is the correct lying position? Is it that the head will be elevated, or the legs will be elevated, or the person will lie flat? Is it prone or dorsal position? These are things we need to know. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Because no if any other director has question. Okay, sir. Doctor, come on, sir.
In the course of the lecture, sir, I did mention that while we want to improvise, where we have the standard first aid kit, whatever we use must be clean. I said clean towels, clean handkerchief, and also clean water. Washing of wounds is what is called the wounding hour. When somebody has an injury, it's about 4 to 6 hours. For instance, if somebody has what's called a crush injury in an accident, the likelihood of amputating that leg is going to increase if that person is not taken to hospital in the first hours of the injury. Because within that 4 hours, you are able to actually take care of an infection, prevent an infection from setting in. And what will cause infection most times is the contamination from the surrounding of the environment. So if there is a clean water, you can actually wash. Because even when you get to the hospital, before we start dressing the wound, we have to wash the normal saline. We do what is called previous irrigation. We have to use enough water to ensure that we wash off every dirt or foreign body. If a foreign body is lodged in the wound may not likely heal because the foreign body is prevent healing. So that's why you have to continuously wash. But like Oga said, the director of cancer, the emphasis is on clean. Whatever you are going to use must be clean. Water clean, handkerchief or towels must be clean. Also, in some emergencies like bombs, I actually admitted that. When a person, for instance, you can have a child in your house who is taking puts his hand inside the hot water. What most of us will do is to pour air and salt on that part of the body, which is very wrong. What you can do is to look for cold water and just pour there before you bring the patient or the victim to the hospital. So the emphasis in whatever we use to first aid is to make sure that whatever we are going to use is clean. It must be clean. Also, sir, for the cuts you had, and there's in wound healing, once you have a cut, the body, even before you do anything, the body on this bone tries to arrest the bleeding. That's why we have what's called clotting factors in our blood. A lot of things come into play your platelets are mobilized to the site of injury, because the body on its own tries to arrest the bleeding. You would have noticed that when you have these injuries, even without doing anything, you notice after some time, you see some dark things around the injury. Then from there, the injury begins to heal because of the clotting factors in our blood. So it could be what the doctor was trying to explain is that maybe he felt that clotting would have started taking place. So when you washed, you now washed off the clot that was already being formed. But if an injury happens immediately, it's good you wash off dirt around them. The clotting will still take place after you have finished washing, because the clotting is part of wound healing. And wound healing will continue to take place till the wound is continuously healed. And I must say that once you have an injury and the injury heals, that part of your body does not regain 100% the strength it had before the injury. The best that you can get is 75%. So the strength of a spot, of a scar on your body, is not as strong as your normal skin. So it's indeed that he was trying to advise that as we washed the clothing, but even when we finish washing, clothing is still continuous to cover up it. The clothing factors are in the body. Even if you wash off from this point, the body will still mobilize more to that same point of injuries. Yes, sir. For unconscious patient, like I said, where somebody can fall here and we are saying the person will still be breathing. The breathing is intact, the function is intact. We don't need to do a cardiopulmonary resuscitation. What we need to do is to put the person on the left lateral position of the respirator so that the airways are open. We let the person on the left side extend the person's left leg and flex the right leg on the knee. Flex the view and lie the person on the left so that the airways are open for the person to get in, for the person to breathe better. Yes, sir. On the left side. Yes, sir. Lying on the left will open up the airways. But when you lie the person spine, that's with the back, the person's tongue can fall backwards and open into the area and the person will not breathe. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Oji. So I request to know if any other director has questions, contributions, or observations. So in the absence of none, may I most respectfully request the acting commandant to sum up today's lecture. The acting commandant, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I see you are not meditating because our senior citizens are going on their Easter and IT as internship or industrial training. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Oji, who is my doctor also, very capable and for this very important topic. We know that first aid in medical emergency is a very important subject that is treated today because in the course of our duties, in the course of our work, we come across so many emergencies, particularly those of us that have served in battle areas like my tested friend, am I correct? We see all these things all the time, even in the Niger Delta. During the Vietnam crisis that we were there, we always coming across situations of gunshot wound and all that. I remember a particular time when I was curfew in Warri town, and everybody was just running back to their houses in order not to be caught in the curfew. That was around 6 p.m. And I just came out, just strolling my car and everything. And I just saw one man on the ground. Actually, one of the hit him and ran away. The man was saying pains and everything. And everybody, because they didn't want people to come and stop them because of the curfew, the man was just there in his pool of blood. I just ran to that car, hiding inside my car. And unfortunately, I was not too close to the gate, but I was close to the Warri Hospital. And I carried the soft and put him in the back of my car and took him straight to the hospital. And that's one of the things that the doctor said that we need to preserve life. One of the things we have to preserve life. And one of the qualities he said, resourcefulness, knowing what to do. So this topic is very, very important because anything can happen to anybody, to your neighbor, your child. This morning, as I was coming to work, I had a court, and I remember some of the principles of the state that one of my doctor friends told me. I have TCP in the house, so I just applied everything, applied pressure, and I was fine. So I want all of us to take this lecture very seriously because it can save somebody very close to you, and we'll be glad to give. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. So, with your kind permission, I request to make a few announcements. Sir, I announced earlier on that the training on defensive driving is scheduled to hold on Saturday, 15 April 2023, from 0900 hours to 1300 hours at the NCI. The training will be conducted by Federal Road Safety Commission personnel. All Nafrc drivers are to be present. Also, all civilian staff are to wait behind the beginning of the lecture. All personnel and civilian staff are to wait behind after this lecture. Shall we all rise as the acting